What is good, y'all? Welcome back to Appreciate Greatness. Today, we're going to be recapping the playoffs a little bit. I think this year's playoff has been unbelievable so far. My camera looks really good. I flipped it. Now, when I point at stuff in my room, I actually know where I'm pointing. Like, this is my actual right hand, if that makes sense. I can, point at the ball much easier right here. I can point at my Sprawl Ball book right there. Great book if you're an NBA nerd like me and you want to know more about the three-point revolution in the NBA, go ahead and pick that up. But getting right into it, we're going to start with the series that were sweeps. We're going to start with Thunder Grizzlies, and then we're going to get into, some more interesting ones, some more interesting X's and O's of other series, starting with Thunder Grizzlies 4-0 sweep. Maybe if the Grizzlies had Ja, they would be able to have won one game in that game 3. They wouldn't have won any more than that. I know some teams or players are saying they would have. It wouldn't have happened. Thunder are just too good, for being honest. They dominated this series. Only won by 2 points in the game 4. Shea played really well. Again, I've said it on the TikToks. I post TikToks after every single day instead of videos, just because I don't have time for a video after every day. Even though I'd love to record and talk about every single game every day. Just don't have time for that. But we had a Thunder sweep, and Shea didn't look like himself. I'm not concerned with that. I think you've seen a lot of times this year he just hasn't been super engaged against bad teams. It kind of just felt like one of those games where he wasn't super engaged just 3 times in a row. And then in game 4, it was kind of like, last game they kind of scared us. Last game they gave us a scare. I gotta pick it up a little bit, and he did. And that's kind of the Shea I expect to see. Obviously, he's gonna have a couple bad games here or there because it's the playoffs and guys are being physical. Great defense is being played. Grizzlies from here, I don't know where they go. If I'm being honest, you're kind of stuck in no man's land. You have big contracts, Jaren, Desmond, and Ja, and you've kind of seen at this point they're not great playoff performers. Not one of them rise to the occasion of the playoffs. Ja is your best, obviously. He's probably your best offensive player. Jaren's probably your best overall player, and in the playoffs, he's just kind of soft and doesn't handle that physicality well. The Thunder were guarding him with Alex Caruso, right? They were matching up Caruso, making him spin and tell over and over and over, and Jaren just didn't adjust. But he said, I want the ball. Well, you're averaging 15 points on 41% from the field as a big. At some point, we got to take the ball out of your hands. But the Grizzlies had no other options. Scottie Pippen Jr. was great. He's a guy you have to re-sign under any means necessary. I like the development of Vince Williams Jr. I like where that's going. However, he's another guy who he's not going to be like a crazy good player. He's going to be a rotational piece. So you have Ja, Bane, and Jaren on massive contracts. Not a lot of roster flexibility right now unless you make that splash at some point in the off season. And I don't think it's there. I don't think you're going to be able to trade for Giannis. I don't know about KD. You might be able to get KD, but then it kind of puts you in the same position in 2 years as you are now, right? They are great drafters. They draft really well. They develop well, but the coach that developed so well is gone, right? So it's going to be interesting to see where they go. The next series that ended 4-0 was Cavs Heat. Just utter domination from the Cavs, and the Cavs really convinced me with this series and how the Celtics played. We'll get into them later. That I might be leaning the Cavs for the rest of the way. They played unbelievable offense and defense. That last game was special. They were up 75-25, I think it's at a point. It was unreal. But yeah, the Cavs are a juggernaut, right? They're going to play the Pacers in game 2. A little bit about that series and a little bit about the Pacers-Bucks. Bucks, an all-time collapse. That could be your last game with Giannis, and you collapse like that, which is crazy. But I love the idea of a Pacers Cavs series. However, I don't think the Pacers have enough horsepower, manpower to keep up with the Cavs, just because you have Mobley, Jared Allen, Darius Garland, and Donovan Mitchell. All those guys on any given night can beat you, right? Jared Allen's had some big games where, obviously it's the guards getting pressure, rim pressure, and dumping it off to him. But he's had big games where he's just dominating. You have Ty Jerome, DeAndre Hunter coming off the bench, who are guys who can dominate. Ty Jerome had 11 assists and 13 points in a game the other night. He's capable to go off for a 30-point game. I think he had one of those in the series. So this Cavs team is just so good, so deep, and so hard to guard. Tyrese Halliburton's not a good defender. He's going to get picked on. He really is. He made 2 big defensive plays against the Bucks, but he's not a good defender. He guards like he's 6 feet tall and he's 6'6". Nembhard's awesome. Is he going to pick up the offense where, he has in the playoffs, where he's a great playoff riser, but can he sustain it against the Cavs? For everything to go perfect for the Pacers, it's going to have to be Hallie averaging 25 and 12, Andrew Nembhard hitting 50% from 3, Aaron Nesmith making all the little plays he does, which I'm counting on. I think he's going to do that no matter win or lose. Miles Turner is going to have to be great from 3 and stretch out Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, get him out of the paint, and allow Hallie to attack, allow Nembhard to attack off the dribble. Jarris Walker's going to have to play a role. We saw him a little bit against the Bucks. He's going to have to play a role and step up a little bit. So it's going to have to be perfect for the Pacers to win. I can see them coming out with 2 games, maybe 3 if everything's great, but I don't see them getting much more. But that's the only set second round series we have, which doesn't feel real. Because the next series is, we'll go to the Knicks. Just bouncing around a little bit. Knicks Pistons 3-2 series. We're at Detroit, I believe, coming up. Am I right? I am. At Detroit coming up. I believe that's tomorrow at 6:30. Should be a great one. I hope the Pistons can win, stretch to 7. The big thing for the Knicks right now, Mikal Bridges is bad. I mean, he's been really bad. I think he's a negative 38 when he's on the court or something like that. Or they're a plus 38 when he's off the court. So he's just been bad. He's not a great defender anymore. He doesn't really try defensively, and he thinks he's all offense, and he's just not really great at offense either. He doesn't really play a good role for them. OG Anunoby's great. Jalen Brunson's been really good. However, he's just getting hurt every single game. That ankle just keeps re-rolling. At some point, he's going to have to take a game off, and they have the Celtics coming up next series, so you're not going to get that. Cat's been unbelievable, especially in the fourth quarters. And then for the Pistons, it's been that Cade show, man. Cade has dominated, and that's about it. I mean, they got the shooters. Dennis Schroeder has been awesome. I don't really know schematically what you can change if the Pistons. You kind of got to ride with what you've been doing and just trying to throw bodies at Brunson. If you're the Knicks, same thing. Throw bodies at Cade and just live with results. Celtics Magic 4-1 series win for the Celtics. They were not great throughout the series. Jason Tatum really turned it up in the last 3 games. I think he's had 35 plus in 3 straight games now. And the Magic didn't look great in Game 5. They didn't look like the normal Magic. They were weirdly double teaming for no reason. They just weren't playing hard defensively, which is very out of character for the Magic. And it led to a blowout win for the Celtics. And Tatum was great. Derek Brown was probably the best player for them. Porzingis, I don't know what he shot in Game 5, but in the first 4 games was 0 for 11 from 3. So a lot of things that they can fix. I didn't particularly love their defense, especially against Paolo and Franz, who are obviously the Magic's 2 best players, and they have no one else who can hurt you, especially stretching the floor. Yet we're allowing them to score 30 and 25 together, or 35 and 25, or 39 and 22, So that was my biggest complaint with the Celtics, was how are you letting the Magic get away with scoring that much. Another thing about the Celtics, they're a little banged up. You got the bone bruise for Tatum in the wrist. I believe it's a bone bruise. I might be wrong, or a sprain. Some of them matter in the wrist. Drew Holiday's missed the last 2 or 3 games. Kristaps is always injury prone. So just some things to watch out for them. And obviously they got the X factor now, Horford, so you can't be too concerned. Moving on, let's talk a little bit about Lakers Warriors. And then I believe we just have Nuggets Clippers and Rockets Warriors. I said Lakers Warriors. Lakers Timberwolves, and then Rockets Warriors and Nuggets Clippers. Lakers Warriors was a great series. I wish it went 7 because I want to watch more. Even let the Timberwolves win 6-1, right? And just throw us 3 more games of this. 2 more games of this, however many we can get, because it was fun to watch. Chris Finch and JJ Redick were playing chess, and you really don't see it to the naked eye, really doesn't see it, but just these different switches and pre-switches, and JJ knows he's going to pre-switch, so let's fake this screen. This one's a ghost. oh, now there's two here, boom, hit. It was just beautiful. It was really beautiful basketball. Especially, I think there was the last 2 minutes of game 4, was it? One of the close ones. It was beautiful basketball to watch. A lot of X's and O's going on there. I got to make more TikToks about those. But the Timberwolves, just their length, their size. Julius Randle is a big dude. Guarded LeBron just as well as anybody can. I think he's probably the best Bron stopper we have in this league. Rudy Gobert tonight, specifically, I'm recording this on, well, I guess it's May 1st technically, but I'm recording this the night of April 30th. So the Wolves just won, and Gobert had 27 and 24. He was unbelievable. The most coordinated I think I've ever seen him. He was catching every rebound, catching every pass, dunking things, put-back dunks. It was awesome. He played great and had a bad last game, but still has been really good at handling those doubles or handling the blitzes and the different pick and roll coverages he's seeing. And you got to attribute that a lot to Mike Conley, who's also just been unbelievable. He had the block against LeBron. They keep mentioning how he was all defensive second team in 2012, I believe, on broadcast. And it's like he is playing to that level defensively. He's playing hard. I do have something to say about Austin Reeves. He was bad. Like, you hear me say bad, but he wasn't touching top 100 in the NBA players. I mean, it was that bad. He couldn't make a three, couldn't handle ball pressure. Every time someone was just up in him, he was fumbling the ball around, just struggled to get by guys, especially the athleticism on the perimeter of the Wolves. Couldn't get the fouls drawn that he normally does in the regular season, and couldn't make threes. And he can't play any defense. His defense is objectively worse than Luka's on the perimeter. Luka uses his body well, uses his arms a lot to kind of, shield guys in. Like if he's guarding here and a guy's going this way, he can like armbar them, and he's so strong that like he just kind of boom and stops them. I hope y'all like that, little demonstration. But that's just kind of what he does on the perimeter, and it works. And he doesn't get called for it, especially in the playoffs. And Austin Reeves he's slow, can't move his feet too well, doesn't have the body to really alter guys' direction and chest them or bump them a little bit off of their path without getting a foul call. And he doesn't have the length, the wingspan. I just knocked something off my dresser. The wingspan to be able to, poke a ball loose or block a shot from behind. He just struggles defensively. We saw that a lot in this series. And the Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves lineups, they had to have been bad defensively. I don't have the stats on me right now. I'll have to look here in a second. But they were bad defensively. And the Timberwolves just dominated. So LeBron and Luka's defensive ratings were 119 each, and Austin Reeves was 113 when he was on the court. So a little better with Austin Reeves on the court, surprisingly. If I'm being honest, probably got too tunnel visioned. The Timberwolves probably just had too much tunnel vision at attacking him, and isolation plays aren't really great for scoring in today's NBA. So that might have been the case. I thought he got attacked a lot, and 113 is bad defensive rating. It's not good. 119's especially bad from both LeBron and Luka, and they were on the court a lot, and that's why that mirrors more of what their actual defensive rating was for the Lakers. So just a lot to work on. They don't have a big. They need a big. I don't know where they go. I don't know where they'll look. Maybe Derek Lively, but he's just not super impressive to me. So they got a lot to work on. Rockets-Warriors, 3-2 series. Warriors up. Rockets kept themselves alive today. It was awesome. There was no X's and O's about it. There was no adjustments made, really, about it. It was just the Rockets wanted it. And Amin Thompson wanted it. 16 minutes, he had 5 steals. And that's just the story of the game. He was awesome. The Rockets played really hard. They were awesome. And they almost let the reserves come back. But other than that, it was a beautiful game for the Rockets. And it's been a great series. It really has. The Steven Adams and Alperen Şengün thing has really worked. And then Steve Kerr went to the Hackett Adams, and they weren't able to keep Steven Adams on the court with Şengün because he couldn't make a free throw. And at some point, if you're Ime Udoka, you had to decide, is it worth, coming away with 1 point per possession, 1 PPR, or do we have to, we just got to get him out of here and, call on someone else? And that's what they had to do. and it really changed. It altered. I think it was game 3 or 4 that happened in. And it really altered that game, and that's kind of what led the Warriors to be up 3-1. And when the Rockets had their chance with no Jimmy Butler, they didn't they didn't take advantage of it. So it's been a fun series. I don't see it leaving Oracle. I don't see it leaving Golden State. I think they're gonna win at home in Game 6 and call this series a good night and go on and play the Timberwolves, which will be a fun series. We'll talk about that when it comes. A lot of size versus no size, so that'll be fun. Nuggets Clippers, the last series here. This has been the most fun series we've seen in a long time. This is the series that kind of makes you say, like, is this the best playoff of all time? Because just this one series is making it seem like that. Nuggets have won, I believe, 3 straight now. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm wrong. I don't know what I was thinking. They won Game 1, then lost Game 2, and then they lost Game 3 as well. And then they've won 2 straight. So, but it's been a really fun series. James Harden really struggles in those Game 5s. We saw it. Jamal Murray had a massive game, and there's been so much X's and O's stuff here too. One thing that I love about the Clippers and that Jokic really struggles with, and why a lot of his averages are down, is not just Zoo, who's been awesome. I want to make a video on him. I'm working on it right now for after the playoffs, or maybe in a hiatus of the playoffs. But one thing that Zoo obviously does a great job, but one thing that the Clippers do as a whole is they are so fast at rotating, and they are really good at putting a certain guy in the free safety role. So what that means is they're really good at doubling with a guy and then making the next guy, the guy who's supposed to rotate and take 2, the free safety, right? So most of the time they want it to be Chris Dunn. And so what they do is sometimes they'll double, and then I really need a whiteboard for this. They'll pre-rotate a guy past Chris Dunn to where he can play free safety. So for example, if we see Jokic on the block, they pass it in from the wing. They're going to double from the wing, 1 rotate. Chris Dunn's the next pass. He should rotate. The guy from the corner will rotate. Now Chris Dunn is playing free safety at about, the 2nd or 3rd peg and guarding that corner and that opposite wing, that opposite corner, opposite wing. They do a great job of it. And and Chris Dunn he specializes at it. Russell Westbrook's also been great. Him and Chris Dunn making shots last game was so fun. I really hope this one goes 7. If this one doesn't go 7, I'll regret making this video, because then I doubt any series will actually even go 7, and I'm calling it one of the best playoffs of all time. But I truly believe it is. The competitiveness that we've gotten, the physicality that we've gotten, the consistent calls of, there's been one really bad questionable call, and it was the Knicks Pistons Game 4. Tim Hardaway Jr. pump fake, lean in, and I think that one can go either way, if I'm being completely honest, because Tim Hardaway, he got here, he was good, and then he kind of got this little bit of right here, right? If he stays here and gets hit, sure, I'm giving it to him. He got a little here. We try to do away with that leaning in stuff, and especially leaning sideways. I get a little bit more leaning forward to shoot and draw a foul. That's what we've seen historically a lot more than the leaning in this way, and that's not a shooting motion at all. Like, people jump forward when they shoot sometimes. Leaning this way, unless you're moving, unless you're catching and moving on the move, and that's where your momentum's going, you get it off and you're, falling away. Other than that, you don't see that. So that's the only real call that I've been like, could have been different, but I didn't hate it in either way. So that's been the playoffs. Hopefully we get a Game 7 somewhere in here, because then this video will look stupid because we didn't even get a Game 7 in round 1. But I don't think that matters when you look at the matchups. We'll have Thunder playing either the Nuggets or the Clippers. Either way, it's going to be a really fun, defensive, grinded-out series. Timberwolves, Warriors, or Rockets. If the Timberwolves play the Warriors, you're seeing small ball versus big ball. And if you see Rockets, Timberwolves, it's two big lineups. It'll be fun. Cavs, Pacers should be fun, up and down game. And then Celtics, hopefully Knicks, was kind of one of those where people thought it would be the Eastern Conference Final. We're getting a little early, so should be a fun rest of the playoffs. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I got a lot more content coming y'all way. Like I said, I want to make a zoo video. That's really one of the ones I got. I won't spoil the rest. I got a couple written down, and I'm gonna just keep y'all updated in the playoffs, and continue to bring some content. I might dive a little more into X's and O's. I don't really talk about X's and O's. I like to write things down and draw things up when I talk about X's and O's, so might have to do that, some shorts, or I might just make a full video on a certain defensive tactic that I see a team running. But again, I see a lot of stuff. I don't it's hard to get it out for me personally. I suck at saying what's happening. Like, I just try to demonstrate the whole doubling and making Chris Dunn the free safety. It's tough for me. So, but anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed. Please leave a like, subscribe, do y'all thing. Peace. I'm not even ready to end it.